Good afternoon out there. My name is Mistress Salaudin and you're on to Community Today on CEO Africa. Today we shall be discussing with a very special guest who will be telling us about his personal life, his political career and his professional career. And today we have the Honorable Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Matters, Honorable Bimbo Kolade. Good afternoon and welcome to the program, sir.
Good afternoon. Good to be with you this afternoon. On my primary education, from where I proceeded to St. Charles Grammar School, Oshogo, for my secondary education. I left there to move to Oyo State College of Arts and Science in Ile-Ife for my A-levels class, and from there I moved to the then University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University Ile-Ife. And anyway, the transition in the names happened when I was there. I studied building from Obafemi Awolowo University Ile-Ife, and I had my master's degree in housing development at the University of Ibadan here in Oyo State. Since I left school, I did my youth service in Lagos State, and I was blessed to be retained in the company which I served with that time. I worked with that company for 18 years before I left to establish my own company. And to the glory of God, I've been involved in a couple of some projects in and around the country.
Wow.
Thank you for
that's a very profound background. Now, looking at a man of your caliber, one will often wonder, were these people ever children? Now, could you please tell us about your growing up years?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, growing up years was fun, beautiful. My father was an education officer. He worked with the then Oyo State Ministry of Education, and my mother also a teacher, classroom teacher. In fact, I would say for every one of us in my house, myself and my sibling, we started our foundational education in my mother's class. At least basically almost every one of us, you will be with her in primary 1, primary 2, for some primary 3, but basically primary 1, primary 2 was always in my mother's class. Coming from that background, you expect the discipline to be there and all that. Growing up, I can recognize my father's car from almost 2 kilometers. The horn of the car, almost 2 kilometers from where I am. I can hear him, and once he's coming, oh, you must be found doing something tangible. And the very first tangible thing will be your book. Otherwise, you are doing one house call or the other. Now, if you say you are outside, maybe then playing table tennis or playing football.
Any sporting activity.
Any sporting activities, and the man comes around to see you. It's like that. And all the other children like us within the community knows him for that. So they will say, want to see my father coming. If any children around, you must you must get yourself together. At least he must find you doing something tangible, like I said, basically your book. So growing up was fun in Oshogo, and I thank God. I went to a boys only school in St. Charles. Used to be a boys only school. I understand it's been turned to a mixed school now under the new education policy in Osun State. And with all my classmates, with all children, and education, thank God, was a smooth drive for me, all through from primary to secondary to A-levels class to the university, and we thank God to be good.
Wow, that was wonderful. Now, looking at you, you came from a background where your parents were educationists. Now, for that, as a child, you must have some future ambitions. Like your dad will tell you, what are your future ambitions? What are your future plans? Could you please enlighten us about some ambitions you had as a child?
Yeah, thank you for more. Actually, really, as young as highly as I can remember, that will be is a constant thing. Asking, oh, what do you want to become? What do you want to do, and all that. But as it was common with almost every young child of those age, especially when you are good in sciences, everybody will want to be a medical doctor. At least that's the very first consideration. And I could remember that, yes, that was like, oh, this guy is going to become a doctor. And I had that, I carried that as an ambition for some time until after my secondary school days. After my WAEC, and I was going into A-level class. I looked at it and I said to myself, what are I ballet? She might say. See, I look at activities around me and it's like, hey, the way I run through activities, I don't think I will have the patience of being a good doctor. And along the line, a friend to my father said, see, why medicine? Everybody, there are many people in medicine now. Why not architecture and all that? So he introduced, he was a school principal, that my father's friend. He introduced architecture to me and I said, okay, fine. Later on also, at A-levels class, I discovered that for me to do architecture, I must be good in fine art. And fine art is not my, yeah, thank you. So I look at it, okay, fine. And that time, yes, indeed, going for JAMB that time, I put architecture as my first choice. And I now put building as the second choice, for me. That how did I go to know about building? A friend of mine who we left secondary school together, who wanted to do architecture in the same Ife, was offered building. So that was my first time of hearing about the course building. So I put in for architecture in Ife, and JAMB result, I missed that merit list by 2 marks. And everybody told my father, no, this boy must not sit down at all. There is a catchment area admission, something that he can catch on to another. And now his friend says, see, let's go and see the dean of the faculty. And entering the dean of the faculty's office that time, Professor Kunle Adewahab, fine, good gentleman, the very first, I think the second African professor of building. And without even saying anything that fateful day when we entered into the office, Chief Oyebade, that's my father's friend, my father and myself, he just said, Baba, see, after welcoming everyone, he said, Baba, see, your child is going to study building. Even though, yes, I can give him admission for architecture, but just leave him to, as I'm looking at it, just leave him to study building. And my father said, look at me, I said, where is, that was my second choice. No problem, I will do it. And that was how I was offered admission. And honestly, looking back today, I always have cause to say, oh, thank God I studied building. Honestly, I find it very interesting, I find it very, very good. And in a little way also, I find it, that it affects lives also.